What's up, everybody? It's your boy Big Papa JT, and today I'm coming at you with a college football video, and I want to explain why Ohio State will finally make it to the college football playoffs. Now, the past 2 seasons, Ohio State has, you can argue that they have been screwed out the college football playoffs, and I can see how fans say that, but I can also see why the committee doesn't put them in, especially this year. They should have been in, but they had that loss to Iowa, and you kind of have to understand, but I still feel they should have been in regardless because they are the best team in college football, and obviously the committee goes by who the best teams are, and that's what Ohio State was. They should have been in my opinion, but I can understand why again. So this video, I'm going to explain why Ohio State will not have that happen to them again. So first off, we got to look at the returning talent that they have on defense. We already know about Nick Bosa, who had 34 tackles, 8.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 2 pass deflections. He's projected to be a top 10 NFL pick. I wouldn't be surprised if he went top 5. Um, he is extremely quick. I think he's even faster than his brother. His brother was fast, but this dude is quick, especially coming off the edge. He can also play outside linebacker when they move to a 3-4, which I expect him to play a lot more this year. Another guy who you need to look out for is Draymond Jones, the defensive tackle. He has first round talent, but right now he's projected as a third rounder just because the production just isn't there. But that shouldn't be a problem after this season. Last season he had 20 tackles. 5 of those 20 tackles were for a loss. He had 1 sack and 2 deflections. And these are pretty good numbers because he didn't really get in a lot last year because they had a whole lot of good NFL talent such as Sam Hubbard, but he should get in a lot more. Also another good. They also have 2 pretty good corners. Damon Arnett had 44 tackles, 8 passes broken up, and 2 interceptions. And Kendall Sheffield had 40 tackles with 9 passes deflected. Those guys are projected to be first round talent and second round talent respectively. And I feel these guys are going to have an even better season because I think this defensive line is better than last year's, despite all the people that left. And I feel when your defensive line is the most important part of the football game, and when your defensive line is dominating, it also makes everybody in your secondary better because now they have less time that they need to keep up with all these fast, speedy wide receivers. And on the offensive side of the ball, I expect the increasing spike of production now that JT Barrett is not the quarterback anymore. Because despite the fact that people will consider him one of the best quarterbacks to ever play for Ohio State, some people even consider him the best quarterback to ever put on an Ohio State jersey. I don't think that's true because if he was, why is it that when he was injured, a player that only played in 4 games and those four games led him to the national championship, how come he couldn't do that? That's my biggest problem with him. And also, I feel JT Barrett was more of a Malik Rozier, Jalen Hurts type quarterback. He has to run the ball to be effective, and a lot of these wide receivers suffered for it. Paris Campbell had 40 receptions, 584 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Is the 4th best wide receiver prospect by Walter Football rankings. And also we had KJ Hill, who had 55 receptions, 546 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns. I think they suffered from having JT Barrett at the helms of quarterback, and I expect them to double up all their numbers this year when it comes to receiving yards and touchdowns because, well, Dwayne Haskins is probably the best, most pro-style quarterback Ohio State has ever had recently. And I feel this is going to be a great impact on the wide receivers, and they will play very, very good this year. And we will see a lot of increasing production out the wide receiving core this year. Mike Weber, he is another player to watch out for just because, well, he's projected to go in between the 2nd and 4th rounds of next year's draft. He got his spot taken by J.K. Dobbins because he was battling hamstring injuries, but he had 608 yards on 96 carries. He averaged 6.3 yards per rush, and he had 10 touchdowns. I expect him to have similar numbers this year, but I don't expect him to have 10 touchdowns. I expect him to have like 8. Michael Jordan is also player to watch on the offensive line because he has a second round draft grade on him. But a lot of people can see him going earlier as the top 15 of the first round because Ohio State every year has an interior offensive lineman that goes really high. We saw that with Billy Price, who got drafted by the Tennessee Titans. In my games to watch, I will watch for the TCU game because that's going to be on the road. TCU doesn't really. I'm not really expecting a lot from them on the offensive side of the ball, but the defense, they really haven't lost a lot of players on the defense. They really have the same players from last year's defense coming back. Penn State should be interesting. They don't have Saquon Barkley. I expect that to affect them in a major way. Ohio State should win that too. Michigan State has a whole lot of talent, but they're not there quite yet. After next season, they will be a national championship contender. And finally, I think the make or break game is Michigan. Michigan has a whole lot of pressure on them this year because John Harbaugh has been given passes because he hasn't had an NFL caliber quarterback. He has that with Shea Patterson now. Shea Patterson is the fourth best quarterback prospect by Walter Football rankings. And they say he's a stronger version of Johnny Manziel. So I feel Ohio State still wins that game just because Ohio State has the better talent, I think, than Michigan. And the notable first year starters, Sean Wade, look out for him. He'll probably be a nickel corner. And Dwayne Haskins, as we already know, first year starting, he should do pretty good. And this is why I think Ohio State will make it to the college football playoffs this year. So, comment what you guys think. Don't forget to share the video.